Sugar, pull up a chair and turn that phone brightness all the way up, because tonight the tea isn't gossip, it's paperwork. Federal paperwork. The kind with raised seals and 13 years of dust on it. And when I tell you that a boxing champion's fairy tale romance just got unwrapped like a re-gifted Christmas present, literally re-gifted, and we have the receipt she forgot she posted, I need you to understand that everything you thought you were watching was not a love story. It was a business plan wearing a love story's clothes. Welcome back to the channel. I'm so glad you're here, because this one is heavy. Tonight we are laying every single document on the table in the order they surfaced: the Louis Vuitton receipt, the deleted boutique footage, the pawn shop slip, the divorce that got quietly unfiled, and a federal tax trail so long it takes a full breath just to count the years out loud. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly why one sentence from this whole saga, "You are the lick," might be the coldest sentence spoken on the internet this year. So lock in. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button now, because the follow-up to this story is already loading. Let's start on Christmas Day, because Christmas is where the mask first slipped. According to the breakdown that set the timeline on fire, and credit where it's due, the archivist of this entire saga is Tasha K., who came with documents instead of opinions. Claressa Shields spent Christmas alone. Not at a family table. Not under matching pajamas. Alone, inside a Louis Vuitton store, on live, buying bags. And on its own, sis, that's not a crime. A woman buying herself a gift is self-care. But here's where the day turns from sad to surgical. Claressa posted the receipt. Then, according to the footage circulating, Papoose handed her a Louis Vuitton box on camera, a duffel bag inside, presented to the world as his Christmas gift to her. And the internet was supposed to swoon. There was just one problem. The duffel in that box was the same duffel on the receipt she had already posted. The one she bought. Herself. With her own card. Read that sequence again slowly, because the order of operations is the entire story. She buys the bag. She posts the receipt. He puts her bag in a box and hands it back to her on camera. And the caption writes itself, "Look what my man got me." Sis, that is not a gift. That is theater. That is a woman staging a romantic gesture from a man who apparently could not produce one on his own, and then forgetting that the receipt was already sitting on her own page like a fingerprint at a crime scene. Now hold that thought, because Christmas Day has a second layer, and this is the layer that made a grown woman delete footage off the internet. While Claressa was alone in that boutique rewrapping her own present, where was Papoose? According to video that briefly surfaced from a fur coat shop, posted by the shop itself, he was with Remy Ma. His wife. And their children. On Christmas Day. The same day. The footage reportedly showed him right there holding the phone while Remy filmed her little moment, the same way he used to hold the camera for her back when they were still performing Happily Ever After for the timeline. And then something fascinating happened. The video came down. The boutique owner deleted it, reportedly right after a mysterious phone call asking for it to disappear immediately. Let me ask you something, and I want you to sit with it. When does a small business owner delete free advertising? A celebrity couple in your shop is marketing you cannot buy. You delete that footage when somebody with enough desperation gets on the phone and asks you to make something go away. And the something that needed to go away was proof, timestamped, third party, no dog in the fight proof, that Papoose spent Christmas with his wife and kids while Claressa Shields spent it manufacturing a gift moment alone. But here's the thing about the internet in 2026, deletion is not erasure. Tasha K had already saved it. Screen recorded, archived, laminated. The footage meant to disappear is now the centerpiece of the whole case. And I need to be fair for a second, because somebody in the back is already typing it. Yes, the man's camp has not confirmed any of this. All of this sits in the land of footage, filings, and what the parties have said out of their own mouths on live streams. But baby, when the receipts start agreeing with each other, at some point it stops being gossip and starts being a pattern. And this pattern is just getting warmed up. Because now we have to talk about the money. And this is where tonight's story stops being messy and starts being frightening. For over a year, the public story has been that Papoose is managing Claressa Shields' career, and not quietly, either. The crown jewel of that narrative is an $8 million deal. $8 million. A number he and the camp have waved around as proof of his value to her, proof of investment, proof of belief, proof that this relationship is a partnership and not a situation. Claressa has defended that number online. She's pointed to it. It's load-bearing in the whole architecture of, look how he shows up for me. So the natural question is the one Tasha K asked out loud, where would Papoose get $8 million from? Because, and this is according to documentation that Remy Ma herself has put into the world, there is allegedly a pawn shop receipt with his situation all over it. Remy has claimed publicly that Papoose pawned her bracelet because he needed cash. Her words painted a picture of a man who wasn't contributing money, wasn't covering bills, wasn't bringing in anything, a man she says she eventually put out. Sis, you cannot have it both ways. You cannot be broke enough to pawn your wife's jewelry on a Tuesday and liquid enough to underwrite an $8 million fight deal on a Friday. One of those stories is a costume. And the receipt suggests the costume is the $8 million. Because here's the distinction nobody in that comment section wanted to hear, credit is not cash. A deal structured on credit is permission to spend money that does not exist yet. And the way it was broken down, if Claressa wins, the deal money is irrelevant because her own purse eclipses it, if she loses, there is no money, because the money was never sitting anywhere to begin with. It was a number on paper doing the job of a number in an account. And that number has been doing a second job too, giving a champion something shiny to point at every time the internet asked her what exactly this man contributes. Now, the apartment. The car. The jewelry. According to the timeline that's been assembled publicly, after Remy put him out, Papoose moved into Claressa Shields' apartment. Started driving her car. Started wearing her jewelry. And then comes the detail that genuinely made me put my phone down and stare at the wall. The chain. For her birthday, Papoose gave Claressa a chain. Presented it as a gift. New. Special. From him to her. Except, allegedly, it was his chain. His own chain. The one already in his jewelry rotation. And the moment that gives the whole game away is the moment she looked at him and asked, "Where's your chain?" If you've seen the clip, you know the face. She's looking at his neck, doing the math in real time. Where is it? Oh, it's on me. Oh. You said this was new. Sis. He regifted himself to her and called it romance. And she posted it. That's the part that should break your heart a little, she posted it as evidence of what he gives her, the same way she posted the staged Louis Vuitton box, the same way she defends the $8 million. Every single proof of his love in her highlight reel has a receipt attached that points back at her own wallet, her own jewelry box, or her own name on a lease. The woman is not being showered. The woman is being mirrored. And if you're thinking, okay, maybe he's just broke and in love, broke men fall in love every day, that's not a scandal, then this next part is where I need your full, undivided attention. Because this is the part where the government enters the chat. During one of Remy Ma's lives, she did something that probably seemed petty in the moment and turned out to be historic. She kept calling him Willie. Every time his situation came up, Willie. I'm going to drag you every time, Willie. And the internet laughed, because it sounded like a nickname, like a joke, like Remy being Remy. But Willie is not a joke. Willie is the name on the federal documents. William Mackey, the government name that appears on none of the platforms, none of the music, none of the branding. And that name was the key that opened a filing cabinet. Because you cannot find those records under Papoose. There is no paper trail under a stage name. But under William Mackey, according to Tasha K's reporting, the records were sitting right there waiting. And when those financial records were pulled, and she said herself it took a long time to get them, the number that came back was not 1 year of unpaid federal taxes. Not 2. Not 5. Not 10. 13. 13 consecutive years of unpaid federal taxes, with the figure on the documents reading around $180,000, and that's before you factor in whatever has compounded since. Count 13 out loud in your head the way she counted it on that stream. 1 year, you can explain, a bad accountant, a rough season, life. 5 years is a pattern. 13 years is a philosophy. 13 years is a man making an annual, conscious decision that the tax bill is optional. And now place that fact next to this one, the man with 13 years of unpaid federal taxes is currently managing the finances of a boxing champion. He is attached to her deal. Her money moves through rooms he built. Sit with that sentence. Let it get as uncomfortable as it deserves to be. And before you ask, no, it does not stop with him. Because according to the same document dump, Remy Ma is carrying her own federal tax liens. The number attached to her name, $622,474.76. Over $600,000. And when Tasha K laid that number out, she asked the question that this entire video is really about. She asked, guess who's going to pay it? That pause after that question is the most devastating silence on the internet this week. Because there is exactly one person in this triangle generating real, fight night, sanctioning body cash right now. And it isn't the man with 13 missing tax years. And it isn't the wife with the 6-figure lien. It's the woman in camp cutting 30 pounds, no intimacy for 6 weeks, body on the line, maximum sacrifice, Claressa Shields. The money she bleeds for is the only fresh water in the whole ecosystem. And the people around her, according to the documents, are standing at the river with buckets. Which brings us to the sentence. The one that stopped the timeline cold. The man is not divorcing his wife. She is not divorcing him, because you are the lick. If you're not fluent in the language, let me translate it with love, because the translation is the tragedy. A lick is a target. A lick is the mark. In the oldest grammar of the hustle, the lick is the person holding the money that everybody else has quietly agreed to relieve them of, while smiling, while posing, while saying I love you on camera. And when you lay that definition next to the rewrapped Christmas bag, the pawn bracelet, the re-gifted chain, the credit masquerading as 8 million, the divorce that got withdrawn, the architecture stops looking like a romance and starts looking like a structure. A structure built to do one thing, keep one woman's earnings accessible to 2 people's debts. Now let's talk about that divorce withdrawal, because the timing is not a coincidence and I will not pretend it is. The divorce between Papoose and Remy Ma was real. Filed. Public. It was, for over a year, the load-bearing answer to every critic, he's leaving his wife, it's just taking time, be patient. Claressa built her entire public defense of this relationship on that filing. And then, quietly, no announcement, no statement, it was withdrawn. Gone. And the explanation that has been offered publicly by those watching the filings is as blunt as it gets, they are not divorcing anybody. Think about what a withdrawn divorce means in cold, strategic terms. As long as Remy Ma is legally his wife, she is attached to his financial life, and he is attached to hers. Community claims, spousal leverage, standing in every money conversation. A divorce in motion is a firewall coming down. A divorce withdrawn is a bridge staying up. And on the other side of that bridge is a champion's purse. So when the breakdown said, they're not divorcing, they're positioning, it wasn't poetry. It was reading the paperwork the way the paperwork reads. And here's where I have to put the protective hat on, because somebody will say I'm doing too much. Claressa Shields is not a fool. Let me say that clearly. She is one of the most disciplined athletes alive, a woman who has dominated 2 divisions, who cuts weight like a surgeon, who has earned everything in her life the hard way, in public, under lights. Nothing about her talent is in question tonight. But discipline in the ring and defenselessness in love are not opposites, they're neighbors. The same tunnel vision that makes a fighter great is the tunnel vision that lets a structure get built around her without her reading the blueprint. Every champion in history who got financially surrounded was surrounded by people they trusted. That's not an insult. That's the entire history of boxing. And it's not like people stayed quiet. 50 Cent, say what you want about him, and plenty can be said, publicly threw his 2 cents in on this situation, and the commentary flew from every direction. Some of it was fair, some of it was messy, and some of it was the pot calling the kettle a whole cookware set. But notice what it means that the situation reached his radar at all, when the loudest troll in hip-hop and the most document-heavy blogger on the internet are both circling the same relationship, the smoke is no longer coming from one kitchen. Now, the defense I keep seeing, and I want to steelman it before I ask you the hard questions, is this: maybe she knows. Maybe Claressa Shields knows exactly what everything costs, knows about the filings, the liens, the receipts, and has decided with open eyes that love is worth the invoice. And if that's true, then respect, grown women get to make expensive choices. That's her right. But then explain the staged Christmas box. A woman who knows doesn't need the performance. You only choreograph a gift for the camera when some part of you needs the world to believe it's real, or needs to believe it yourself. That's the detail I cannot get past. The box wasn't for us. I think the box was for her. And one more thread before I let y'all go, because this is the part almost nobody is talking about. Remember the first layer of this whole saga, the meal story. He ate a full dinner at Remy's house the day before, spent time there, and then sat at Clarissa's table being served rice, bagged spinach, and something she called a sweet potato, and the timeline howled at the little domestic theater of it all. Funny, right? Memes for days. But replay it with tonight's documents in your ear and it stops being funny. A man floating between two kitchens, fully fed at one, performing appetite at the other. Baby, the meal was the metaphor the whole time. Everything being served to that woman is a plate arranged for her eyes, while the real eating happens somewhere else. So here's where we land. The Christmas gift she bought herself. The footage that survived the deletion order. The pawned bracelet. The regifted chain. The $8 million that looks more like credit than cash. 13 years of federal tax silence under a government name he never uses. $622,000 in liens attached to a wife he's no longer divorcing. And one sentence from the archive that ties the whole ribbon, you are the lick. Now I need to hear from you, because this is one of those stories where the comments write the sequel. 2 questions, and I want real answers, not emojis. Number 1, do you believe Claressa Shields genuinely does not see the full picture, that she is the most expensive victim of something she still believes is love, or do you think she knows, and the performances are for us, not her? Number 2, the divorce withdrawal, the credit deal, the tax trail, do you think this was coordinated between husband and wife from the beginning, or is the truth sitting in a folder nobody has leaked yet? Sound off in the comments, I read every single one, and the best breakdowns are getting pinned. And listen, this story is not done. The filings are public, the receipt economy around this situation is still moving, and the next document drop could rearrange everything I just laid out. So if you want to follow up the second it lands, you already know what to do, like this video, subscribe, and tap the bell, because the clock on this thing is ticking out loud. Until next time, keep your tea hot and your receipts laminated. I love y'all. Bye.